If awakening was supposed to end the search, why does it often return? Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, in the background of daily life. You may have seen through the ego. You may recognize awareness as what you are. You may have even tasted deep peace, and yet, something is still looking, not for things, not for happiness, but for completion. Welcome to Mystic Reflections, a space for exploring the deeper questions that arise after awakening, and what actually brings the search to rest. Most people assume the search ends when awakening happens, that once there's recognition of awareness or a loosening of identification, there should be nothing left to seek. But for many sincere seekers, that isn't what unfolds. Instead, the search changes shape. It becomes quieter, more refined, more spiritual. Now it's not chasing pleasure or meaning. It's trying to stabilize insight, not trying to become someone, but trying to remain nobody, not seeking awakening, but attempting to maintain it. And look closely. There may be no strong sense of me, yet experience is still being checked. Is this staying clear? Is this slipping? And the moment experience is checked, the search is already alive. This isn't a mistake, and it isn't a failure of awakening. Awakening reveals what you are, but it doesn't automatically dissolve the habit of seeking. Seeking isn't rooted in ignorance, it's rooted in orientation. Seeking means experience is still being organized around a reference point, around the sense that something needs to be secured, completed, or upheld. Even if that something is peace, even if it's awareness, even if it's the absence of identity. So the mind begins to ask subtle questions. How do I stay here? How do I not fall back? How do I deepen this? And the search continues, wearing a wiser mask. After awakening, seeking rarely feels desperate. It feels mature, disciplined, spiritual. You meditate not to awaken, but to remain clear. You watch thoughts not to escape suffering, but to avoid identification. You refine language. You refine perception. The search itself is simple. It's made of one assumption, that completion exists in a future state. Even if that future is imagined as timeless, even if it's called abiding presence or stabilized awareness, as long as there's a sense that something needs to be maintained, the search survives. Anything that can be lost must be guarded, and wherever life is guarded, tension quietly returns. So what actually ends the search? Not more insight, not more practice, not even deeper awakening. The search ends when seeking itself is seen impersonally, not as a personal problem, but as a movement arising on its own. At some point, it becomes obvious that nothing is actually being held together. Awareness isn't fragile. Presence doesn't require upkeep. What you are is not a state that comes and goes. And when this is seen, not as an idea, but as lived clarity, effort naturally falls away. Not because you decided to stop seeking, but because there's no longer a reference point for seeking to organize around. It happens almost unnoticed. No spectacle, no grand finale. The mind keeps thinking, the heart keeps feeling, the self keeps acting, and the world remains its ordinary self. But something fundamental is no longer happening. Experience is no longer being measured against an imagined ideal. There's no inner checking to see whether this moment qualifies as awake enough, deep enough, or aligned enough. And without that comparison, the search has nowhere to stand. If you're listening to this and recognizing yourself, this is not a setback. It's a sign of clarity maturing. Awakening didn't fail you, and you didn't miss a step. You're simply at the point where the subtlest assumption is ready to be seen, the belief that something still needs to be finished. And when that belief loosens through recognition, not resistance, what remains isn't effortlessness as a goal, it's simplicity as a fact. So if the search is still present after awakening, don't try to end it. Don't resist it. Just notice what it's pointing to without turning it into a problem to solve. If this kind of exploration resonates with you, consider subscribing to Mystic Reflections, where we continue looking into awakening, inner clarity, and the quiet truths that don't require becoming anything new. Because the end of the search isn't something you arrive at. It's what's revealed when nothing is being pushed toward a conclusion. And that is already here.